Greetings, guys, gals, non-binary pals, and welcome back to another video. Last year, the Daily Wire announced that they were going to be opening their very own streaming service for children's programming because TV for kids is becoming too woke, and so they needed to do something to go against that. They needed to make a kids streaming service that was not political, that was, core family values. Because we obviously can't have children watching anything that features like gay parents or being encouraged to be themselves. 3 of the Daily Wire people at least made videos complaining about this episode of CoComelon where a kid has 2 dads and he wears a tutu and they're saying, yay, be yourself. They made whole videos about how that's bad and disgusting and wrong and how dare you show that to young impressionable children. So of course they had to make their own streaming service, which cost them $100 million. And on this streaming service, the show that they have promoted the most, that has gained the most attention, is a show called Chilla. And the reason that it has garnered so much attention is because it's a Bluey knockoff. It's straight up, they just ripped off Bluey. As soon as the website opened up, Australian news services made a statement being like, what the fuck? Because they literally just stole Bluey. It's got the same animation style, it's the same colors, it's the same idea, it's the same fucking music. They just made Bluey. Except they didn't. And today I wanted to talk about it because I sat down and I watched pretty much the entire show because I love Bluey. I am a Bluey enjoyer. I have watched the entirety of Bluey several times. I've spent an entire day sitting on the couch, hungover, watching Bluey. If I don't know what to watch, if I'm feeling sad, if I just need something easy, I watch Bluey. This morning, Kat was dyeing my hair. We were watching Bluey. So I know Bluey inside and out. I relate to Bluey so much. A lot of us really love Bluey. It is something that is important to a lot of adults even because it has that thing that we love about being a child, either nostalgia, stuff that we miss as a child, or it's got the love and messages that we wish we'd received as children, and it's overall just enjoyable for everyone. It is a very, very well-made show. I cry in over half the episodes. I cried this morning watching Bluey. It reminds me a lot of myself and my sister. My mom and my sister, they also watch Bluey. Because the dynamic is so true to my own childhood. I relate to Bluey so much on a deep level. My sister is very, very much like Bingo, and then even Bandit is quite similar to how my dad was when we were kids with the way that they play and the games and such. It's it has a lot of realness to how my childhood was, but it takes it one step further, and it's just a fantastic, lovely show that literally everyone can enjoy. And conservatives don't have a problem with Bluey. Conservatives like Bluey. I know that people at the Daily Wire, they enjoy Bluey. They constantly complain about the left not liking Bluey, which I find hilarious. They've made so many videos being the left hates Bluey. They hate Bluey because it's the last TV show that's not pushing a political agenda. And then the examples they use of the left hating Bluey is one person who happened to write an article that most people don't agree with. There was an article written recently about someone being Bluey is bad because it shows a dad playing with his kids, and that is unrealistic. Parents don't actually have time to play with their kids, and they shouldn't be, teaching that in kids shows. And that's a terrible take from anyone. That's not a politically left take. That's just a bad take. Foundation of Bluey is that family relationship. That's what the show is. And it's fantastic. And it teaches good relationship dynamics. It teaches love and respect and independence. And it's just a fantastic show. I could talk about Bluey forever. But it's not what I'm here to do. Today, I wanted to talk about Chilla because I just need to, you know? I spent an entire day watching this show, and so now I need to talk about it with you. Before carrying on, I would like to take a moment to let you know that for this video, I have partnered with Geology, and I want to tell you a little bit more about them. Geology is a 29-time award-winning skin, hair, and body care company, and they create simple and effective routines that work for anyone. They have over 7,000 5-star reviews, and one of those is from me. I've talked about Geology with you all before. I've partnered with them before, and I'm always really excited when they want to work with me again because I genuinely absolutely love this product. It's like genuinely it saved my skin. I have really sensitive skin, and for some reason cleansers just really make me break out. I've tried so many cleansers and they all hate me. Even the ones that are specifically for sensitive skin will make me break out. I have reactions to them. And then I got Geology and I didn't. And I was like, oh my God, this cleanser actually works for me. And not only does it like work for me as in doesn't cause me to have a reaction, but it actually clears my breakouts. And Geology make it really easy. You go in and you take a little skin survey and you answer some questions, and then it tells you exactly what like set that you should get that is best for your skin. And it comes with a cleanser that you use morning and night, a moisturizer that you use in the morning, and then a night cream for nighttime and an eye cream. And it is so perfect and easy. It is only a few steps. I have noticed such a massive improvement in my skin. My skin has never been so clear than when I have been using Geology. And we are at the beginning of a new year now, right? It's new year, new me. And so if you're looking to like restart your self-care routine and you just want skincare that is effective and also easy, then Geology is a fantastic choice for you. I genuinely do love this product and I do recommend it to literally everyone. Even like my family and friends, they like ask what skincare I use and I'm like, Geology, you have to try Geology. And if I haven't sold you enough already, if you use my link, geology.com/kiwi, or the link in my bio, then you can get 70% off their award-winning skincare trial set. And on top of that, they will give you up to 30% off on one skin, hair, or body care product extra. So do not waste this opportunity because it is truly a fantastic deal. I promise you will not regret it. They are a fantastic brand. It is a fantastic product and I cannot recommend it enough. So thank you so much, Geology, for sponsoring this video. And yeah, let's get back into it. Chilla is about a family of chinchillas. There is a dad named Chum Chum, the mother named Chinny, which if you don't know, the mom in Bluey is called Chili. And then their 3 kids, their oldest daughter, Chilla, their oldest son, Chip, and then their youngest son, Chubbly, who is a baby or a toddler. He doesn't speak very much. And they are homeschooled primarily by their father. And every episode is them learning a lesson. Now, that is very similar to the premise of Bluey. Bluey is not homeschooled, and those episodes are set like on the weekend, in the holidays, or like just around school. But there are episodes that are set at school as well. But in Bluey, the episodes are focused on like kids learning lessons, right? They're learning life lessons and they are all facilitated by Bluey and Bingo themselves. It is their parents teaching them lessons through games, but they're never explicitly spelt out what the lesson is. It's just about exploring things and figuring it out, you know? They're given like a statement and then they play games and they kind of lead themselves into figuring out the answer and learning something. And thus, you as the viewer are learning that along with them. And that is like what gives Bluey heart, you know? That's what makes it so lovely and emotional and just warm, is that it is like kids being kids and having fun and learning, whereas Chilla it just sucks that out. Chilla is Bluey if you ripped Bluey's heart out. It's basically what it is. Chilla, they're homeschooled, but they never say that they're homeschooled. Like, it doesn't feel like they're actually doing anything schooly or like learning properly or anything. But these episodes are all driven by their father, by Chum Chum. He tells them what they're learning and how to learn it. And then they do that. But it doesn't feel like natural. It's not as fun. It's not as independent. It doesn't have that same heart to it. It's just so like, you know, that's really the only way I can explain it, is it's just moving from like point A to point B, and there's no like emotional build, there's no emotional climax, there's not really any soul there. You're just watching a parent teach their kids, and they do it through games, but it doesn't feel the same because it is so centered around a parent. It is centered around their father and like his rules and how he wants to teach. And I just find it really, really interesting that they've taken that route for it, which is just completely eliminates the whole golden appeal of Bluey in the first place. And if you're gonna rip off a show, at least take the best parts of it, you know? Oh, and also just a side bonus note here that, because of course they did this, hilariously, the female characters are pink and the male characters are blue, because of course they are. Like, of course they are. But anyway, the first episode is called Moonlanding, and nothing much really happens in this. It is just kind of like setting it up so you kind of know what the vibe is. It's teaching their kids about taking turns. It's teaching them that you don't always have to be first, you know? And it follows basically Chilla is oldest, so she always has to be first. She learns how to do things first. And Chip is jealous of that. He's like, why does she get to do things first? I want to do things first. And she's like, it's because I'm older and I'm always going to be older, so I'm always going to be first. So they learn about the moon landing and Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin and how Neil Armstrong was the first person on the moon. So now the kids are fighting about who's going to be Neil Armstrong and who's going to be Buzz Aldrin in this fake moon landing game that they've got going on. And this is another thing I find really interesting, is that all of these episodes revolve around Chip and Chilla fighting. They're constantly bickering and fighting, and all these lessons come around because their dad's like, you two need to stop fighting. So today we're gonna figure out a lesson to learn to stop you two from fighting. And that's what everything revolves around. It's just them not getting along. And that again is another core amazing part of Bluey, is that show revolves entirely around the love these two sisters have for each other. It is the love of that family. And that is what makes it so emotional and incredible to watch, is it is just love. Whereas this show revolves around bickering. And all the lessons they learn come from bickering. That's the premise of the show, is that this brother and sister are constantly butting heads. Their parents like, okay, we need to teach them a lesson. And then, yeah, ultimately in this Moonlanding episode, they resolve it by letting Chubbly go first instead. And it's just it didn't really lead to the point very well. I understand they only have 8 minutes, and they're children, but it just didn't work very well. The next episode was called Extra Extra, which was an episode about not tattling. Now, Bluey did a fantastic episode on this. Their tattling episode was so good.
Karen, Bevan isn't doing it properly.
Bevan?
Is Bevan doing anything dangerous? Well, no. Then don't be a dobber, sweetie. Sorry, Karen. That's okay.
And it's a fantastic, cute little episode. I really enjoy it. I had fun. They learnt the lesson, and it was fun, and it was children-led, and they got themselves to the point without much guidance at all. They figured it out because they're independent, free-thinking children. Whereas in this show, in this episode, it was all facilitated by their dad, of course, and it just wasn't done in a very fun way. It was found out through Chilla being mean. She was like taking photos of people to spread rumors about them that were true for like a fake newspaper.
What happened? What was that? Extra, extra! Mom eat all Dilla picked his nose.
Effectively just shaming a bunch of people because that's what is juicy news. And it was just her being mean until her dad's like, hey, maybe you shouldn't be mean.
This ain't no story. Why, this is just tattling.
Good things should be news too.
But don't forget about the good things you see people doing. Those are stories worth telling too.
And then ultimately it ended with the news, like the best type of news and what is newsworthy is good stories and lying. Because the other news story she came up with was someone donating toys and then her stuffed animal being like a secret spy. And those are the two types of news stories, good and lies. And the takeaway and the lesson that you learn is not as authentic, like for kids, if it's coming from this like not as good place, you know what I mean? So those are the first 2 episodes, and I was already bored out of my mind watching this, and I understand it's a show for small children. It's not for me. It's not going to be entertaining to my brain, except for the fact that I fucking love Bluey and can spend all day watching Bluey. So that's clearly not what the problem actually is, and it is a problem with the fact that the writing is bad, the acting is bad, and the show is bad. And they're copying something. And they're copying it badly, you know? Like, the animation style isn't what makes Bluey popular. That's not what makes Bluey good. And that's what they've stolen. And it's so funny. That's the same thing as Mattel being like, the Barbie movie did well. I guess we should make another toy movie. And not another movie for women. Like, it's the dynamic and the core of the show that make it good. It's not whatever the fuck Daily Wire think it is. Now, moving into the next episode, episode 3, we have Franken Chip. Now, this episode is my favorite, but not because it's good, but just because it's hypocritical. And it makes me laugh. I sat there watching this like, hello? And that's for a few reasons. So basically in this episode, they are learning the story of Frankenstein. They do that through playing out Frankenstein as a skit. Chip is Dr. Frankenstein, Chubbly is Frankenstein's monster, Chilla is Igor, and then their parents are village folk. And so Chip brings Chubbly, the monster, to life. And then Chubbly is meant to be this monster and he's meant to go berserk, as they kept saying. He loses his mind. He goes and he attacks people. But he doesn't do that. He goes and he pretends to be a duck because he is a toddler. He feels like being a duck.
You're supposed to go berserk. And now he's a duck?
And Chip gets angry and frustrated and is like, no, you're meant to be a monster. You're meant to be going berserk. And is like getting really mad and trying to control him and his actions and turn him into something that he wants him to be and not who he wants to be. Seriously. And the lesson that their parents tell him at the end is that the reason Frankenstein's monster ended up going berserk and not being what Dr. Frankenstein wanted was because Dr. Frankenstein was too controlling. And if you're controlling someone, they're going to act out and lose their minds and not behave and cooperate.
I don't think Victor Frankenstein had much fun either. He made a real problem by trying to control more than he could.
The more he tried to control the creature, the more angry it became. And the more trouble it caused.
So if the doctor hadn't tried to control the monster, he wouldn't have become one.
So you see that there's 2 things wrong here. 1, not what Frankenstein's about. Not at all. That's not at all. Not even in any retelling is that what Frankenstein is about. How did you take that away? Frankenstein is about, like, mental health and societal perception. It has nothing to do with control. That's not what the story is about. But putting that aside, do you hear yourself? Do you understand the lesson that you just taught? Because I agree. I do agree. You should let your kids express themselves how they want. You should let your kids do what they want and have fun. And you shouldn't try to control them. Because when you do, they act out. You're right. But that's not ever what you teach. I'm just like so amazed that they have this episode dedicated to that idea when the entire foundation of their belief system is the opposite. They complain about kids' TV shows where they depict kids being themselves because they're being themselves in the wrong way. They'll see a boy wear a tutu and they're like, that's disgusting. And they're teaching kids to be themselves, but not in the way the kids should be themselves, because boys shouldn't wear skirts and their parents are obviously forcing it on them. When that's the opposite of the truth. Oh, it's so funny that these homophobic, transphobic, conservative, traditional parents are here being like, don't control people. Have fun. Do what you want. That's the only way to be happy. Are you kidding? Are you fucking kidding? Oh my goodness. Anyway, I think that's really funny because they taught a good thing, but I don't think they realize what they taught. And it really just shows that they don't even believe in their own values. Like, they don't even know what their own values are. It just shows how vain they are, because it basically is just saying that they think anyone who wants to be anything other than what they are somehow being forced and coerced. They can't fathom the idea of anyone wanting to be different. So as soon as you want to be different, you must be being controlled by an outside force, which is so funny. They sit down and make a whole episode about being yourself and how you can't control people or they're going to act out. And then they say that if their kid was transgender, they'd disown them. Like, bro, listen to yourself. Listen to yourself. What the heck? Anyway, that's my favorite episode, purely for the hypocrisy. Although they do have some other hypocritical moments, like in this other episode called Chillimpics, where they have a family Olympics because the two older kids, Chip and Chilla, have like a battle about like, I'm better than you, no, I'm better than you, all right, and then their dad's like, we'll settle this through the Chillimpics, and sets up like a sports day for the family. And I find this hypocritical purely because they're all competing against each other, and Chilla keeps winning. So the reason this is hypocritical is because one of them is a biological male and one of them is a biological female, and she keeps winning. When I thought that no matter what, no matter the circumstances, no matter the training, no matter the time spent, none of that, biological males will always win. And it's unfair to have biological males and biological females to compete against each other in any sport ever, because the biological male will win every time. I'm pretty sure that's one of their morals. And like, yes, there's children and there's a couple years apart. And I understand that that's going to be the angle they try play here, but it still seems pretty hypocritical if you ask me. Anyway, I found that a little bit hypocritical and a little bit funny that they just did that and didn't think anything of it, but you know. They had this episode called President Chilla, where she decides that she's going to be in charge. She's going to be president. Chilla became president, and then she was on a timer, and at the end of the timer, she was meant to hand it over and let Chip be president. But instead, she was like, no, I'm president forever. New rule as president is that I am always president. And then she went power crazy, started telling everyone what to do. And so the moral of that episode was just, like, don't be a dictator, I believe, which is kind of wild, but the way they went about it. And also, it's really similar to a different episode they had, which was about how they were parents for a day. They told their parents, it can't be that hard to be a parent. I want to be in charge. And everything fell apart because they're kids. And being a parent is hard. Being a leader is hard. And like, it wouldn't be a problem if there were two episodes that had effectively the exact same message. Like, you run out eventually, right? Except there's only 12 episodes, and 2 of them are the same premise. Like, you had 12 episodes to come up with, and you have 2 of them, same premise. You couldn't think of a 12th thing? You couldn't. There's a ton more. There's a lot of other stuff. You couldn't even think of a 12th thing. That's kind of impressive, honestly. Ultimately, the show isn't like conservative, which was the point in it. Like, they didn't want to create a show that was political, and I was really skeptical when I heard that idea, because I know a lot of the time when they say not political programming, they do just mean enforcing conservative values through programming. But that's the thing, right? Is that everything is political to a degree. You know, like everything is based in politics. We've made everything into politics. And so although it's not pushing a political agenda, it still is laced with some politics and with some subconscious bias and such. Like the dad is the one who runs everything. He kind of leads all of the learning. He is very much the voice who is in charge of everything. He is in control. He has all of the positions of like power within the show. Like in the episode Extra Extra, he's the news director runner, and the mom is a secretary who doesn't know anything because she's just the secretary.
Oh, but what do I know? I'm just a secretary.
And in all these instances, he's always the one at the head. You know what I mean? So like that is enforcing a gender stereotype and gender roles just by doing that. And then you have these like moments where they say something that's just a bit like, but yeah, basically this show is not good. It's not good. And again, I know it's not for me, but at the same time, it is, right? Like, according to them and what they expect of me as a woman, I am of the age now where I should have a small child. I should be married with a small child, or at least well on my way to. So I am expected to be watching this show with my small children, which means I should also be enjoying it. That's the great thing about the best kids shows, are shows that parents can enjoy. And since they wrote it so much like Bluey, it has the implication that I am also meant to enjoy it. But I don't connect with the parents. I don't really connect with the kids either. It doesn't have that same sense of love and heart and joy. And I don't see my childhood in it. I don't find... It's not heartwarming. I don't connect to the emotional climaxes of the episodes. I don't feel like I've learned anything. You know, I can't even put myself into my child's eye. I don't connect with my inner child when I watch this show. And I think that that's one of the things that makes Bluey so special. And it's something that kids can see, and they can see healthy family dynamics, and they can just learn things and like learn it through love and through the eyes of children, which is so much more impactful. These kids learn things from their parents every day. And this show just continues to be like learning through your parents instead of learning through themselves. It's not helping them find their own voice. It's still just being told what to learn. It's spelling everything out. It's implying that kids aren't smart enough to figure out their own thoughts and their own lessons and morals and such, you know? So Chilla just really doesn't hit the mark. It is poorly written. The acting is terrible. And it's just boring. It's boring. And I think kids would find it boring too. So it's just overall falls pretty flat. And for a streaming service that spent $100 million, and this is the main thing that they're pushing, I didn't expect it to be very good. I'm glad it's not super conservative, but again, it is obviously laced with conservative politics. And I didn't get to watch the whole show because I couldn't find all of the episodes, because don't worry, I did not join their streaming service because they didn't have a free trial. And also, you can't even sign up for a month. You literally have to sign up. It's $99 one-time payment for a year. And I'm not subscribing for a year and giving them $99. It's not happening. It's not happening. I'm not giving them my money. So I had limited place to watch it. Totally legally. I watched it legally. Anyway, yeah, this has been Chilla, and I talked way too much about Bluey considering this video is not about Bluey, but yes it is. Bluey's in my mind. I love Bluey. Please go watch Bluey. If you haven't watched Bluey, go watch Bluey. If you haven't watched Bluey, do watch Bluey. I do recommend it. It is so healing for your inner child. Don't watch Chilla though. It's really boring. I hope that you have enjoyed this video. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. I put out new videos twice a week, usually every Thursday and Sunday. So I hope to see you in the next one. A massive thank you to my Sprout and Above patrons whose names are up on the screen right now. I appreciate you greatly. And a huge thank you to my Kiwi Cat patrons. Harry, Bobby, Josh, Mandy, Sparrow, Ikazel, Jessica, Eldo, Danielle, Raven, Elias, Boston, Chris, Amelia, and Samuel. I love and appreciate you so much. Thank you so much for joining. If anyone else would like to become a patron, go to patreon.com/savvycat. Click the top link in the description. For only £1 a month, you get my videos a day early, as well as podcasts a week early. And then for £3 and up, you get things such as outtakes, Spanish mini podcasts, live streams, vlogs, and more. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram, The Queer Kiwi, and Twitter, That Queer Kiwi. I hope that you enjoy the rest of your day. Stay safe. Keep fighting. I love you. Mwah. When you close your eyes, you